President Putin wants peace, and President Zelenskyy wants peace, and I want peace. I just want to see people stop getting killed.
If a Ukraine-Russia peace deal ever looked within reach, it is now. And here's how it's all shaping up. A 1.5-hour phone call between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin this week. In his characteristic style, Trump wasted no time in telling people about it. Trump and Putin will host each other. Negotiations to end the war in Ukraine will start immediately, and 4 men will lead them from the US side. Hello and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. Let's connect the dots of the makings of a Russia-Ukraine peace deal with Trump's mediation and another precious rare earths for aid deal between US and Ukraine.
No, we had a great call, and it lasted for a long time, over an hour. This morning, I also had with President Zelenskyy a very good call after that. And I think we're on the way to getting peace. And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not too distant future.
President Trump informed me of what Putin had told him. We believe that America's strength is enough to, together with us, together with all our partners, push Russia and Putin to peace.
Kremlin confirmed that Putin has invited Trump to Moscow to discuss Ukraine.
The Russian president invited the US president to visit Moscow and expressed his readiness to receive US officials in Russia in those areas of mutual interest, including, of course, the topic of Ukrainian settlement.
But Trump said his first meeting with Putin in this term could happen in Saudi Arabia in the not-so-distant future.
We expect that he'll come here and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time. We'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war.
Ties are improving between US and Russia, with both sides showing goodwill gestures like prisoner swaps. The United States is freeing a Russian cybercrime boss from prison in return for Moscow's release of US school teacher Mark Fogel, who was held on drug charges.
Mark Fogel, an American teacher detained by Russia, was returned to American soil and met with the president here at the White House last night. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the rest of President Trump's incredible national security team helped to negotiate the exchange that secured Mark Fogel's release.
Well, the US has made clear what it will do and what it won't in Ukraine. In Brussels, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth put Trump's approach to the war bluntly before allies who made up the Ukraine Defense Contact Group.
We want, like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective. Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement. Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops. To be clear, as part of any security guarantee, there will not be US troops deployed to Ukraine.
Speaking for European nations, UK said Europe is stepping up in Ukraine.
We heard his call for European nations to step up. We are and we will.
So the United States has defined the limits of its engagement in Ukraine. But guess what? There is spotlight on another deal to keep US interest intact in securing Ukraine after the war ends.
We're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
So Trump puts it plainly. His Treasury Secretary goes to Kyiv to fast-track it, and Zelenskyy says this deal is almost done.
I know that our team was given the first draft of the document from the United States of America about partnership between our countries. I very much want our team to review this document. We received the document today. We will review it and will do everything so that our teams can reach an agreement very quickly and sign the document.
Цей документ і зробимо все.
By increasing our economic commitment through a partnership with the government and the people of Ukraine, that it will provide, once this conflict is over, it will provide a long-term security shield for all Ukrainians.
Clearly, American support for Ukraine has a price tag. Trump wants $500 billion worth of Ukraine's mineral riches. Mineral deposits in Ukraine are worth more than 12 trillion pounds. Ukraine has one of Europe's largest deposits of critical minerals. It has deposits of 22 of the 34 minerals identified by the European Union as critical. They include industrial and construction materials, ferroalloy, precious and non-ferrous metals, and some rare earth elements. They are vital for electric vehicles, batteries, nuclear reactors, other clean energy efforts, ceramics, glass, TVs, lighting, lasers, and defense production. But much of them are untapped. Zelenskyy has been trying to develop these resources for years. In 2021, he offered outside investors tax breaks and investment rights to help mine these minerals. But those efforts were suspended when the war started 1 year later. Anticipating that a transactional Donald Trump might take an interest in this, Zelenskyy placed the mining of these minerals into his victory plan that was drawn up last year. And then Zelenskyy pitched this idea to Trump back in September when the two met in New York, so that in return, Ukraine could continue to get US military and financial support. As Zelenskyy is clear that Europe cannot guarantee Ukraine's security without America. Now, things seem to be falling in place for that deal and for a larger Russia-Ukraine peace deal with Trump's mediation. But before the stage was reached, there were some hiccups on the way. After Zelenskyy proposed to Russia that they swap one territory for another to end the 3-year war, Russia said, no thank you. But observers believe Moscow is eager to claim territory in Russia's far west Kursk region. Ukraine has deployed some of its most experienced troops there as it wants to hold on to the land it seized in Russia in a surprise offensive last year as a bargaining chip. In fact, both armies are trying to secure an advantage on the battlefield ahead of talks. But this may be more difficult for Ukraine than Russia because Kyiv is facing a difficult time on the battlefield. Its army has been losing ground to better resourced Russian forces at strategic points along the sprawling front line. Russian forces occupied an additional 3,600 square kilometers of Ukraine's territory last year and now control about 20% of the country. By contrast, Kyiv's troops control about 500 square kilometers in Kursk. So what happens now? Trump's special envoy, Keith Kellogg, is tasked with drawing up a proposal to stop the fighting. He is also due to visit Ukraine next week after the Zelenskyy-Vance meeting in Munich. That trip would come just days before the 3-year anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war on the 24th of February. Now, it's over to the peace negotiations to see how a ceasefire deal is thrashed to begin with and how the big picture plays out of give and take that both sides might eventually agree to. There are also signs that if a real breakthrough happens, Russia-US ties could improve, glimpses of which we saw in Trump's first term before ties nosedived and Biden did not speak to Putin for 3 years. Remember, Trump took office vowing to end the war. Now it remains to be seen if Trump's second term is remembered for a diplomatic victory that ended the war and at what cost peace is achieved.
No one holds the key. We need international regulatory regimes.
World leaders, policy makers, and tech CEOs gathered in Paris for the AI Action Summit. The global event was co-chaired by French President Emmanuel Macron and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Welcome to the AI Action Summit.
The summit aimed to map AI governance around the world.
Welcome to the Grand Palais.
The goal was to make AI more ethical, accessible and affordable for everyone. And see the attendees at the summit. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and many others. Even Google CEO Sundar Pichai was present at the summit. 60 countries including India, France, China, Japan, Australia and Canada signed the Paris AI Summit's declaration titled Statement on Inclusive and Sustainable Artificial Intelligence. The countries agreed it is a priority that AI is open, inclusive, transparent, ethical, safe, secure and trustworthy under international frameworks. But two countries, the United States and the UK, refused to sign the declaration. The US criticized the European Union's regulatory approach to the technology. Listen to what US Vice President J.D. Vance said.
Many of our most productive tech companies are forced to deal with the EU's Digital Services Act and the massive regulations it created about taking down content and policing so-called misinformation. And of course, we want to ensure the internet is a safe place. But it is one thing to prevent a predator from preying on a child on the internet, and it is something quite different to prevent a grown man or woman from accessing an opinion that the government thinks is misinformation.
It was Vance's maiden foreign visit after taking office as the US Vice President. He alleged that Europe's strict online privacy rules, known as General Data Protection Regulation, or in short GDPR, creates a big financial burden for smaller companies who have to spend a lot on lawyers and compliance.
We believe that excessive regulation of the AI sector could kill a transformative industry just as it's taking off, and will make every effort to encourage pro-growth AI policies.
Vance also warned about the dangers of working with countries that don't respect individual freedoms. So he was clearly hinting at China without naming it. Listen to this.
Now, we've also watched as hostile foreign adversaries have weaponized AI software to rewrite history, surveil users, and censor speech. This is hardly new, of course. As they do with other tech, some authoritarian regimes have stolen and used AI to strengthen their military, intelligence, and surveillance capabilities, capture foreign data, and create propaganda to undermine other nations' national security. I want to be clear. This administration will block such efforts. Full stop.
See the timing of the US Vice President's remarks. It came after a Chinese startup, DeepSeek, made waves in the tech world. Last month, DeepSeek launched a powerful AI chatbot reportedly developed on a much smaller budget than similar projects like ChatGPT and Gemini. DeepSeek's ability to create advanced AI at a seemingly lower cost has surprised even established Silicon Valley companies like OpenAI. Separately, many countries are now banning the use of a specific app on government devices due to security reasons. Now, going back to the summit, one thing that caught attention was US Vice President J.D. Vance's swift departure after his speech. Notably, he did not stay for the traditional group photo with other leaders. As you can see in this visual, Vance is absent from the lineup. While the US expressed its hard stance, the UK, which no longer is an EU member, did not clearly explain why it did not sign the declaration. But a spokesperson for Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the UK thought the declaration was too vague on important issues like global governance of AI and national security. Meanwhile, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that global governance that builds trust and upholds mutual values is necessary for AI. Let's listen to him.
There is a need for collective global efforts to establish governance and standards that uphold our shared values, address risks, and build trust.
Prime Minister Modi also spoke about another critical issue related to AI, that is whether AI will take away jobs.
Friend, loss of jobs is AI's most feared disruption. But history has shown that work does not disappear due to technology. Its nature changes and new types of jobs are created. We need to invest in skilling and reskilling our people for an AI-driven future.
India will host the next global AI summit. While world leaders gathered in Paris to discuss AI, a surprising move came from the US. Guess what? Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who is now also part of the US President Donald Trump's administration, made an attempt to purchase OpenAI. Reports say Musk, joined by a group of investors, made a $97.4 billion offer to acquire OpenAI. But its CEO, Sam Altman, swiftly rejected the offer, simply saying, "No thank you." Sam Altman also attended the AI Action Summit in Paris. When a journalist asked him about Elon Musk's offer, see what Altman said.
Can you react to Elon Musk's offer?
I have nothing new to say.
Well,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. How so?
The company is not for sale.
Sorry?
The company is not for sale. It's like another one of his, tactics to try to mess with us. But
what about the amount he offered?
I have not paid it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Here you must know, Sam Altman co-founded OpenAI with Elon Musk in 2015. But Musk exited in 2018 after falling out with other co-founders of the company. Notably, Musk filed a lawsuit against OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and others last August, asking a US district judge to block OpenAI's planned shift to a for-profit entity. As the world navigates the uncharted territory of AI governance, one thing is clear. The future of artificial intelligence will be shaped by the choices we make today. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you next week with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munmin Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.